right, let's jump right in. Today, we're talking about a tool that is, no exaggeration, one of the most powerful and fundamental in all of project management. It's called the Work Breakdown Structure, or WBS for short. And honestly, it's your secret weapon for taming those absolutely monstrous projects. You know that feeling, right? You're standing at the starting line of some massive project, you look up at this mountain of work in front of you, and you think, where do I even start? It's that deer in the headlights moment. The sheer scale can just be paralyzing. Well, there's that old saying, and it perfectly nails the strategy for dealing with this kind of complexity. You don't try to swallow the whole thing at once. You break it down. You find one manageable bite. But what if I told you that in project management, this isn't just some clever little saying? It's a formal, structured, honest-to-goodness technique. There is a professional tool designed specifically to help you take that one bite at a time, but with total precision and clarity. And that tool, you guessed it, is the Work Breakdown Structure. The best way to think about it is like a blueprint for your entire project. It's the master map that shows you every single piece of work that has to get done, from start to finish. And look, this isn't just some niche idea I cooked up. The WBS is a cornerstone of professional project management. It's standardized and defined in the PMBOK Guide, which is basically the Bible for the entire profession worldwide. Okay, I know, that definition sounds super formal and a little intimidating, but let's just pull out the key phrases here: hierarchical decomposition and total scope of work. All that really means is you're systematically breaking down your project from the very top into smaller and smaller pieces until you've captured literally everything. So let's get into the 3 rules that make a WBS work so well. First, and this is so important, it's focused on the outcomes, the deliverables, the what, not the specific tasks or the how. It keeps everyone aiming for the results. Second, it's a hierarchy, an organized tree structure. And third, it has to follow the 100% rule. This means it has to capture all the work and only the work in your project scope. So, how do we actually build one of these things? Well, the process has a name: decomposition. It's the art of turning that overwhelming project mountain into a whole series of nice, manageable molehills. So yeah, decomposition is just the official term for what we've been talking about. The technique of slicing and dicing your big project goals into smaller, more bite-sized components. It's a simple idea, but it's incredibly powerful in practice. And the process itself? It's so logical. You start at the very top with your main goal. Then you just ask yourself, okay, what are the big chunks needed to make that happen? Then you take those chunks and you ask the same question again. And you just keep going down until you can't break them down any further. You know what? Theory is great, but let's make this real. We're gonna build a simple one right now. So level 1 of any WBS is always just the project itself. In our case, the website project. That's the top of our tree. Now let's decompose it. What are the major deliverables for a website? Well, you can probably break it down into 3 big buckets, right? You've got design, development, and testing. That's our level 2. And notice that numbering system. It keeps everything perfectly organized. And we just do it again. We take that design piece and we break it down even further. What does design involve? Well, you've got to do wireframes, and then you've got to do visual mock-ups. Now we're at level 3. And we just keep doing this for development and testing, getting more and more detailed with each step. So the whole point is to keep breaking things down until you hit something called a work package. Now this is the sweet spot. This is the level where the piece of work is small enough that you can actually, confidently guess how long it'll take and how much it's going to cost. It's the real actionable unit of work. But hang on, that chart we just built, that nice-looking hierarchy, it's really only half the story. It shows us the structure, sure, but it doesn't give us all the details we need to actually do the work. For those details, we need a companion document. Think of it this way. The WBS shows you what needs to be done. Its partner, the WBS Dictionary, explains all the nitty-gritty details about that work. Now, when you put the WBS and the WBS Dictionary together, you get something incredibly important called the scope baseline. This is it. This is the official, signed-off version of exactly what your project is going to deliver. It's the yardstick you measure all your progress against, and it is your single best defense against scope creep. You know, that project-killing disease where extra work just keeps getting added on? So why go through all this trouble? I mean, what's the real payoff? Well, it's huge. It's the difference between chaos and clarity. It's like being handed a GPS with a clear route versus trying to navigate a new city in the dark. And the contrast is pretty stark, right? Without a WBS, projects often get lost in confusion. You get bad estimates, teams aren't on the same page, and scope creep is almost guaranteed. But with a WBS, you get absolute clarity, much better planning, controlled changes, and a team that shares one common understanding of the mission. It really is the foundation for everything. And just remember that one crucial rule: 100%. The WBS must capture 100% of the work. This is how you make sure nothing gets forgotten, nothing is left to chance, and that you're planning for the entire project, not just the parts you remember off the top of your head. And that really is the magic of the work breakdown structure. It's a pretty simple tool, but it is profoundly effective. It takes that initial feeling of being totally overwhelmed by some massive challenge and transforms it, piece by piece, into a clear, manageable, and completely actionable plan. So now, think about it. It doesn't have to be a multi-million-dollar work project. It could be planning a family vacation, or renovating the kitchen, or even just organizing the garage. The principles are exactly the same. So what's the first big elephant in your life that you're going to start breaking down?